Guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are taking a look at some brand new Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom figures by Mattel, and these things are absolutely adorable, but yet so very cool. These are the Hatch N Play Dinosaur figures from Mattel. These are pretty new. I mean, they haven't really hit too many stores in my area. I was lucky enough to stumble across these two at a GameStop locally over the weekend, and I was super psyched to find them. I've been considering buying them on eBay as they are on there, but I haven't actually pulled the trigger. So when I did stumble upon them this past weekend, I grabbed both of these guys right away because they look so cool in person, and I could not help myself. There are actually 4 different versions. There is the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which you see right there on the left, and then there is also the Stygimoloch, which you see on the right, but they also have Blue the Velociraptor and a Triceratops. I do not have the other two, but when I do receive those, I will have them on here to review as well, as I am definitely planning on getting them at some point very, very soon, especially after actually purchasing these two and seeing how nice they are in person. I absolutely intend on buying the other two, but honestly, taking a look at these figures here, you can see that they look very, very cute. They're nice and cuddly, so if it's something that you want to buy for your kids, it's an absolute win because I'm sure they're going to love them. But at the same time, they are really, really super highly detailed and really beautifully done, pretty much like everything that Mattel has been releasing for the most part. They look very nice, and there is just tons and tons of beautiful sculpt work that has been put into both of these figures, so let's get a closer look at them. You can see that the detail and sculpt on the face is really beautiful. It's really, really nicely done. There are lots of little scales all over the place, and the sculpt work is quite phenomenal. You can see that the eye has a beautiful gloss over it and is really painted nicely. No sloppiness on either side with the eye. You can see that that eye just looks phenomenal. I also like that they have included a darker brown around the eyes, just a slight shade of it, just to give it a little color variation. The nostrils are up here, sculpted very nicely right there. All over the place. The sculpt work of the head really looks beautiful. You can see a nice darker brown that runs the upper part of the back as well. So they really match the color scheme all of the movie, but also of the other toys that they have released for the Tyrannosaurus Rex. It really looks beautiful the way it's been done. Coming down the neck, you could see some nice skin folds here and some cracks and crevices on the underside of the neck and on the back of the neck here, the upper part of the neck. Beautifully done there. And the sculpt work of the scales and the skin detail does not cease. Really looks beautiful everywhere you look. The little T-Rex arms here look nice as well. No paint on the nails, of course, and on the nails of the feet as well. So that is one little downside to these guys, is that there are no nail paint at all. But they do have a gloss, I guess, so they try to make it appear like there is something going on with them. For some reason, I don't know why they'd put a gloss on the nails, but not paint. That really doesn't make too much sense to me, but whatever. I mean, you guys just do you. You see that the paint is nicely applied. There are significant variation in color. I feel like the paint on this little guy here is actually a little better than what we see on most of the larger figures of the Tyrannosaurus Rexes. Not that those ones are bad by any means at all, but I just feel like there's a little more as far as color variation in this guy, but maybe that's just, I don't know, my brain screwing with me. You see the detail on the legs is also very beautifully done. Nice musculature all over. Of course, they have oversized feet, but being a baby, that also is not a big deal, as babies often are proportion kind of strange, so it actually looks really nice. It really does. And the tail is also sculpted nicely, but very, very small. Again, as I'm mentioning, the proportions of the babies. Obviously, the tail would be much larger on an adult, but it looks pretty nice for what it is on this guy. The tail is articulated. It does move up and down. The legs are articulated as well. And the arms also can move forward and back and then out like this if he's trying to fly. The legs can also come out away from the body. And then he does have this little action feature which causes his jaw to be articulated. So you can roll this thing here on the back. You just roll it and the mouth is open and then you close it. But if you notice, as you open it, the teeth on the upper jaw come down. So they get larger as you open the mouth to show his little ferocious T-Rex teeth. And you can see that the sculpt work on the inside of the mouth is also very nicely done. The tongue and the skin type of detail on the inside look very nice. The coloration is beautifully done. There's a nice gloss in there as well. So that looks very good. And the teeth are painted very nicely also. He's got a little bit of a goofy look once those big teeth come down, but it still looks very, very cool. And then this Stygimoloch, who is just absolutely adorable. He's got his big, gigantic eyeballs, and you can see that the eyes are actually painted really nicely. There's some brown and then a black pupil, so it's cool to see some different variation there in color. That black pupil is just huge on him compared to what we saw on the T-Rex, just making him have a little bit more of an adorable look to him. There is no articulation in the mouth of this guy. The mouth stays just as it is, but you can see that the tongue, a little bit, there you go, you can see the tongue is painted in there. It looks very nice, nicely painted. The dome is painted pretty nicely. Not really, a little bit of sloppiness over here on this side, but nothing bad at all. It's sculpted nicely as well, and they did a fairly decent job of actually painting a lot of the little horns and spikes that stick out of the head of the Stygimoloch. Not all of them, as a lot of them up here you can see aren't painted, but it still looks quite nice. The nostrils are sculpted nicely as well. You can see some beautiful paint applied to the face there, a little bit of the darker brown that's all over the body of the Stygimoloch, coming down into the neck. Beautiful sculpt work down here as well. In the back here, you can see that that color variation comes into play with that darker brown, and it really looks good on this guy. I really like the way it's been applied to the little Stygimoloch. Arms again sculpted very nicely. No paint on the claws, of course. And the arms are also articulated to do exactly the same as the Tyrannosaurus Rex and most of the other Mattel figures. And then the legs again also are articulated and again do the forward to back, but they don't really go out on this guy. You see, I'm pushing. They went out on the T-Rex, but they don't really do that on my Stygimoloch, and I don't know why that is. I'm really not sure. Sculpt work here on the side of the leg is really nicely done. He has absolutely gigantic calf muscles. They are just beyond huge. But being a dinosaur that runs and charges a lot, I guess that does make sense that he would be working on these leg muscles. And the feet look very nice. Sculpt work is beautiful there as well. And then again, the short little tail, also sculpted nicely, also articulated just like the Rex. So you can move it around if you would like. So overall, the Stygimoloch also looks very, very good. And he is really quite adorable. Again, as I mentioned, especially with those gigantic eyeballs. And as far as the little bit of articulation that we do have with this little rolly thing on the back that the T-Rex used to open his mouth, you push it and it moves the spikes. So these little spikes and horns and stuff that stick out the back of the head, you can have them shorter and stop it there, or push them out further. So it's really your preference. But again, at least it's a very cool feature of this dinosaur, just to give it a little bit of fun play. And then the eggs, you can see, have a shot here of the dinosaur peeking out. This is the T-Rex's egg, and it's very cool. The eggs are sculpted very nicely, and they're painted nicely. They look pretty legit. They look good. And one thing that I think is very neat is that they've actually changed the coloration of the egg per dinosaur here. The T-Rex has this like tannish type of a color, almost like a sand color, and then the Stygimoloch has closer to like a whitish color, almost like an ostrich egg type coloration. But it's sculpted nicely, painted nicely. Lots of little cracks and crevices all over the egg as he's starting to hatch. So it looks very, very cool. You can also see that when you close the egg, it creates the Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex logo right there in the front. Both eggs do that. And there you can see that the egg does look very cool closed. The dinosaur is inside, not really shown at all anywhere. See, it looks very, very nice. So that's pretty cool. And then for the actual action feature of the dinosaur hatching, you just push it down, and then he hatches but stays inside the egg. There he is. Or she. Whatever one you would prefer. So basically, once you push it down, you can close it. The egg stays closed. But if you want it to hatch, you give it a good push down. See if we can get him to pop out again. No, same thing. But again, my area isn't really the most level area, so that could just be because of my area that the egg isn't popping off completely correctly. But regardless, they are still very, very cool. Another cool addition to these figures is that they can stand very nicely on their own. They have no balancing issues whatsoever, so you can see looking at them right there, even in my off-level review station, they are still standing quite well. and very sturdy. As far as the size of these guys goes, on the T-Rex, from the tail to the head, you're looking at a little tiny bit over 5 inches or 13 centimeters. For the T-Rex, as far as the height goes, you're looking at almost 4.5 inches or about 11 centimeters. Stygimoloch's height is a little over 4 inches or almost 10.5 centimeters. And for a length of the Stygimoloch, from the tail to the head, about 5 inches or 13 centimeters, somewhere in that area, that general vicinity. And for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex. So as far as baby dinosaurs go, these guys are pretty big baby dinosaurs. But as far as they go compared to maybe the colossal T-Rex of the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom line, they are not very big babies. So it really just depends on what figure you're comparing them with, I guess. But you can see that they are pretty nicely sized for being small baby dinosaurs. So as I mentioned previously, I purchased these guys at GameStop. It was a local GameStop that was at my mall, had 2 of them sitting out, and I grabbed them both for $15 each. That's about the price that's probably going to run you. I have seen some of these actually on Walmart's website, and I have seen all 4 of them on Amazon's website. So if you would like to sit in the comfort of your own home and give them an order, I will put links to all 4 in the description, even though I've only reviewed 2 at this point in time. But it'll be easier to just direct you to all 4 because these things are really quite cute. And now that I have these 2 in my possession, I'm probably going to go ahead and order Blue and the Triceratops just to complete the set, or at least the current set. Who knows if they'll come out with more. But regardless, they are very, very cool, very nicely painted, very nicely detailed and sculpted. Again, more Mattel figures that are just absolutely off the charts awesome for this Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom line, and they come in these very adorable, very cool, yet kind of menacing looking eyes peeking out of these eggs. But this set, as I said, these guys are just a total win. They're absolutely awesome. I love both of these figures. So, like I mentioned, in the description, check the links. You can go buy them yourself. If not, head to your local GameStop if you've got one and see if you can locate some there, and you may be able to get them today, as they are awesome. Either way, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.